the Arch Gaming Network is proud to bring you this flash review. Now here's your host, Sean Smith.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to take a look at the two-player game, The Rose King, which was designed by Dirk Henn and published by Kosmos Games. This game was part of Kosmos's two-player series of games, and it's based on the War of the Roses. In this two-player game, you are going to need to manage your hand and do a little area control, because you're going to have these discs with your colored roses on them that you're going to be placing on a grid and trying to acquire the largest area, consecutive area of these roses. The larger the area you have, the more points you're going to score. So, will you win the War of the Roses, and do you even care to even play to see if you'll win? Well, let's take a look at a setup, a walkthrough, and I'll give you my thoughts on the other side. To set up the game, you have the game board here. You're going to want to pay attention to where the crown is on this board. Then you have the red side, the blue side. You're going to give the red and blue players their 4 hero cards. Then you have these power cards. You're going to shuffle them up, and each player is going to draw 5 of them and place them along their side of the board. Now, when placing these power cards, you want to pay attention to where the crown is. The crown must be facing, or the card must be facing, in the same direction that the crown is facing on the board. So, the crown is at the top. So when you have your card in front of you, the crown has to be at the top. Of course, if the board was turned over, or the red player would have to turn their cards facing this direction. Okay? Because the crown is at the bottom, so when they're looking at their cards, the crown has to be at the bottom. On a player's turn, you have one of 3 actions that you can take. One of the actions is to play a power card. So you see this one has a 3 on the crown, and then it has the sword pointing straight up. If you play this card, you just play it to a discard pile, and then you move the crown 3 spaces in that direction. Wherever it stops, you're going to take one of these rose tokens in your color, in this case blue. They are double-sided, and you're going to place it here. So now the opponent will take one of their cards, and they will move, in this case, it's 2, and they'll move this direction and place one here. The other action that they can take is on their turn, they can draw a card from the power to fill their hand. They can only take 1 per turn. So if you're down several cards, it will take you several rounds to refill them. The third action I'll tell you about in just a moment. I have to fast forward the board just a hair. Okay, so let's assume we've been playing for a little while here and the board looks like this, and now it's the red player's turn. As I said, the object of the game is to have the longest consecutive streak of roses in your color. So you look at white. White has all of these connected. So the red player can use one of these 4 hero cards, pair it with a power card to change one of the roses to their color. So, red player will discard those, move 2, and flip that over. Red has now successfully broken up white's area into 2 separate groups instead of 1 long group. Now you only have 4 of these cards, so play them judiciously. It's important to keep in mind when you play a power card, you have to be able to move to an empty spot. If you can't, it's not a legal move. Play is going to continue until either all of these tokens run out, or you can no longer legally play a card, meaning you aren't able to move to a blank open spot. Once both players are in a position where they cannot draw any more cards because they already have 5 and there's no place for them to move to, then the game will end. At the end of the game, you'll go ahead and score your consecutive areas. So the blue player has 4, which is 16 points, 2, which is 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, which is 36 points, and then 1 by itself, which is 1 point. The rose player has 12 consecutive for 144 points. Whoever has the most points is the winner of the War of the Roses and the Rose King. Okay, so what do I think of the Rose King? And why am I reviewing it? After all, didn't this game come out in 1997? Well, yes, it did. So then there's a couple of reasons. First, it's its 20th anniversary, so why not review it? But more importantly, I wanted to review it because it is a 2-player game, and I'm wanting to try to focus on, a few just straight 2-player games as well as, those games that play on a much larger scale. Now, as far as the game goes, it's small, so it's easy for us to throw into luggage, or if we're going out somewhere where we're, maybe the park or whatever, it's easy to take with us and play. It has a small footprint, so that is definitely a plus. The components of the game, though, are just okay. The board's nice. I do like the board. But as far as the cards, there's not a whole lot of variety in them. And, the tokens for the roses are nice. They're okay. The game does play well, though. It has a nice back and forth feel to it, kind of like, a game of chess. And being able to use those hero cards kind of breaks up the back and forth of just moving, placing a chip, moving, placing a chip. It adds to that strategy. But let me tell you something, guys. If you're playing your wife, never, ever use those hero cards on her, okay? In fact, just shred them as soon as you get them. Never turn over one of her roses, okay?
Don't be scared.
So the game is solid. It makes for a fun 2-player game. I do wish it was maybe just a little bit more substantive. It feels like it's missing something, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. But it's a solid game. My wife and I enjoy playing it. We will take it with us if we're traveling somewhere because, again, it is small, easy to take with us, and it does play well. Feel like I wish it had just a little something more. But, again, not a bad game. I think you'd enjoy it. I give it a 6 out of 10. Now, if you enjoyed this review, please leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And once again, thank you for stopping by.
This Flash Review was brought to you by the Arch Gaming Network. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.